Hello and welcome back. This is the third episode in the Roots Civilization 7 game, and we should talk a little bit about the plan for today's video. Now, I went back and I frankly watched some of them, and I thought they're not really up to sleuth standards. They're a little bit dull, they're lacking energy, doesn't feel quite right. Now, the main challenge that I actually have here is this ends up normally being roughly 3 hours of recordings that I really don't want to post as a raw video. That would just be immensely dull, I think. What I'm trying to do is to take a 3-hour video and try and condense it down to 1 hour of the best content. And I think the reason it's actually hard to follow is essentially I just end up cutting lots of things that I think are not necessarily interesting, or where it's not necessarily that it's just not that interesting, where there's big gaps of silence. And I think what I need to be doing instead is actually be very deliberate around what parts I want to record and which parts I actually don't want to include. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the plan for this modern age. First things first, as already agreed previously, I have selected Russia for this modern age. You can see a little bit about the Russian Empire in here. You end up with a unique unit, the Cossack. So this Russian unique cavalry unit has an extra combat strength when it's in friendly territory. You have a unique rocket launcher. So this tier 3 Russian unique siege unit has extra movement. It has a lower base combat strength, but it makes up for it with additional splash ability, and it essentially deals damage to units that are adjacent to the target. Fantastic. And you have these unique improvements that, frankly, I've not really quite got the hang of just yet. They're really much more useful in Tundra, which, although I am playing as Catherine the Great and there is a spawn bias towards Tundra, I don't actually believe I have that much of it in my empire. So, before we take a look at how we're going to choose our legacies, let's talk a little bit about how we're going to actually win this age. Frankly, we are so far ahead of everyone else, with the exception of maybe Napoleon. I mean, I say with the exception of Napoleon, I mean, just take a look at our stats. He's in the 50s really, and I'm almost breaking 300. So we are way ahead of everybody else. I am not worried about winning. I think I'm more worried about, again, trying to get 12 points, or essentially completing the legacy paths for economic, military, science, and culture before the age ends. So let's talk a little bit about each of them for a second. On the economic front, this is what's called a railroad tycoon. Once again, it's all about resources. We'll take a look at the resource screen in a second, but I don't necessarily want to bring it up, unfortunately, just yet. There are essentially different classes of resources. You may have noticed previously there are resources that can only go inside a city, resources that can go both inside a city and a town. There are empire-wide resources, and there's now the concept of factory resources. Resources that will give you a benefit empire-wide, but they have to be managed inside a factory. So to be able to do so, you basically need to build a rail station, then a factory, then stuff it full of factory resources. And as you can see, we have to create a ton of these factory resources, like an absolute ton. This, despite how intimidating it may look, is not actually that difficult to complete. On the military front, this is going to sound very familiar. There's the concept of ideologies. Think of it almost like a mini Cold War. A little bit later into this video, I'm going to have to pick an ideology. And essentially, I'm going to pick a government. Might be communist, might be fascist, might be democracy. And when you actually attack people and conquer cities that are of a different ideology, you will get points. So where after 20 points, I can essentially go and get 20 cities. There's no way I can be able to fit that within the town limit that I have. Wait until I get my ideology, in which case it will double up to 10 points. So it'll double up for each town that's conquered, so that will become only 10 towns I need to conquer. Or I wait until I find an opponent that's got an opposing ideology to me, and that will take me up to 3, so I'd only have to conquer 7 towns. I think I find the difference between 2 and 3 points marginal. I mean, to be able to have 7 towns, quite easy. I'm at 18 out of 25. Realistically, in the culture and science tree, we're going to find enough to get me up to 28. So as long as I delay my conquest until my ideology, I'm going to be fine. On the science front, you are trying to essentially race to space. Again, sounds very familiar during this era and this time period during the Cold War. There are essentially 3 different components to the space race. One is going to be a transatlantic flight. Second one is launching a satellite into space. And then the last one is actually getting, humans onto the moon. Lastly, on the culture front, you have to collect 15 artifacts. We're now sufficiently advanced in this ages and this time period in history. There are going to be artifacts that are essentially buried underground all throughout the world. I have to collect 15 of them. There's actually a limit on how many you can have per continent. So if I switch on to the continent view for a second, take a look at the different continents. You've got a yellow one. It's going to be like a maximum of, 6, 9. The red one, again, there will be a limit. The purple one, thankfully I actually have towns there. Green, I don't actually have anything there. So if I want to really go and pursue anything in green, I'm either going to have to ally myself probably with Machiavelli, so I can actually dig things out of the ground and discover them, or the more likely option, I'm going to go and conquer Machiavelli, and it's got one right next to Mount Everest. Why wouldn't I do that? And then back to yellow again, which is sort of the dominant one. Right, that is all of the different winning conditions. At the end of them, you actually do need to complete a specific wonder, so the World Bank in the economic one, Operation Ivy, so nuclear weapons, on the science side, the first crewed space flight, and then the World's Fair, which is a wonder that showcases all 15 artifacts. So it's actually reasonably easy in the modern age, unlike all the others, to actually try and complete all of them. But you really want to get the economic one going. That can take a long time, just like the exploration age. And I find that the military one, you don't really start until you actually research your ideology and pick one. But then it really does go very quickly, particularly if you love a bit of conquest. The rest of it, I'll be honest, is relatively easy. Okay, so I kept the same attributes going into this, or mementos. So I have an extra economic point, and I've got the extra resource capacity in towns. I'm going to want the extra resource capacity in cities as well. Main reason for that, of course, is to allow me to have the factory resources. But I also kept the other one that gave me 4 extra town limits. So I think I remember closing this with 18 out of 21. And now I've gone up all the way to 25. Given I'm going to conquer at least 10 towns, this is fantastic and very helpful. I have a look at the civic tree for a second. And you're looking for this icon that says +1 settlement limit. So I've got 1, 2, 3 available in the modern civics. On the Russia side, I've got, so hang on, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, that's 4. Once I get my ideology, it will show some more. I don't know if there's actually some more settlement limits, but at least 4. So I'm going to have up to 29 at a minimum. Sometimes I think I can get it to like over 30. But with 29, it means that I can actually probably at least settle 1 or 2 places that are of my choosing. So if I actually look specifically for gold, that might be tempting to make sure that my actual gold goes a bit further. That's one thing that I could do. I've got quite a lot of it though. Let me just, we'll pick up our resources in a second, but I don't want to do that just yet. Let me just check that there isn't any settlements limits in the science tree. Yep, there is one. So that takes me up to 4 was 5, 6. So I can actually settle at least 3 more towns and then conquer 10. Given I'll have a limit of 31. Assuming that my ideology isn't going to give me some more. Right, let's talk about choosing our legacies. And the modern age has begun. So, how are we going to spend it? We've got all 12 plus the wild point. Remember that I have to pick certain things. So when it comes to science, I can't load it up on 3 attribute points. I can only get 1. Then I have to choose one of Lyceum's or Catherine Modern Legend Scientific. I'm not keen about that one. I don't really want to take a 10% culture penalty. I can also go for another Golden Age where the universities become Golden Age and I start with a ton of science. I'm not sure I'm tempted by that one. I think I probably have quarters. Quarters is when essentially you have 2 buildings per tile. It becomes a quarter. And that will give me +3. Chances are I've got a lot of these, so that's probably going to give me more science than the Enlightenment Golden Age. Economic, I'm definitely going to get at least 1. I don't really care for all of our cities from the previous age remain, because I just, the cost of converting a city, I know it goes up as you convert cities, but, you know, it's a maximum of 1,000. Compared to this, where over the course of 50 turns, chances are this will give me more gold in the long run. So I'm more tempted by tap the source. Although actually, just before I do that, let me just double check. Have I unlocked all of the legend attributes? I mean, there isn't one in economics, so there's no benefit to picking it up. I have unlocked it in scientific. I'm pretty sure I've unlocked it in culture. So on the diplomacy side, there is no legend thing to unlock. On the expansionist side, there is no legend thing to unlock. And in the military side, there is no legend thing to unlock. So essentially, which one I pick as a legendary attribute or legacy is kind of up to me. I mean, plus 70 culture to start. Just in context of we're at 280, that's an extra 25%. That's huge. But I honestly find that having attribute points more useful. Plus 10 production for settlements in distant lands, not very useful. Non-range infantry, an infantry unit and a range unit in all of our distant lands. If you remember, at the end of the exploration age, I bought a ton of range units, so I actually have plenty. So I don't need either. I'm going to go for extra expansionist points, an extra military point. On the culture front, I'll go for a culture one, a diplomacy, and then in my mind the question is whether I want to go for deep roots. Oh, I am definitely taking Toshakana. Right, you remember at the very end I was jealously guarding my religion everywhere, and you can see that Islam is very much spread all over the place still. And it's exactly for the fact that I picked one that gives me extra gold. Now, if I select this, and it doesn't actually show me what the total would be, but plus 4 gold for every foreign settlement following my religion, this will add up to a ton of gold, so I'm definitely taking it. Right, 2 science points. I'm going to pick quarter rather than Catherine's modern... yeah, I can't do another golden age, can I? Yes, you can only do 1. So for a specific attribute, I can't do multiple golden ages in different ages. So I am forced with Lyceum. I've gone for tap the source, haven't I? And then essentially the wild point is the question. What am I going to spend it on? And I think I have plenty of culture, don't I? So I shouldn't feel compelled to spend it here. I can get an extra 62 culture per turn, that's useful. The science one I'm definitely going to spend in here, that's the 62. So getting 1 for culture, 1 for science makes sense. I can go for an extra diplomacy, extra happiness, that's probably what I'll go for first. Plus 3% towards all years for every alliance you have, and it's repeatable. This is very powerful. If I'm playing a bit more civilized and I have a lot more allies, unlikely. Extra economic point, getting towards the plus 5% gold and repeatable, that's helpful, but obviously I'm going to spend this on the plus 1 resource capacity to start. Expansionist is also looking good. So frankly, there's nowhere I could go wrong, but I think extra culture right from the start suits me the most. Done. Let's spend it all. Culture, plus 62, thank you. Science, plus 62, fantastic. Military, I'm almost indifferent about military. May have actually been better off moving that to expansionist, I think, or somewhere else anyway. Right, plus 5 combat strength against independent powers. I'm not really going to go for them, so I'm more tempted. And I'm not going to garrison my commanders, so plus 23 gold, plus 2 HP when healing repeatable. Healing a bit faster to move on to the next conquest. Plus 23 is such a small benefit, I'm not going to pursue it. Expansionist. Right, so we've got 2 points, so that's 5% growth rate, 25% of food is refunded when a city grows by adding a specialist, and then getting more of this, all of it, is fantastic, thank you. Economic, resource capacities in cities, and then we're definitely going to go for 5% gold repeatable. Unless I actually do make some friends and I end up with allies, in which case this would actually be useful to get the plus 10% gold for every alliance I have. 14 happiness from the start. Plus 2. So even if I have 10 city-states that I am a suzerain of, that's only going to translate to 20 culture and 20 science. That's frankly not very useful. Extra social policy might be helpful, but I'll take the extra 14 happiness, then I'll probably head down this route. And that's all my attributes points spent. Right, let's do... Oh, I chose this without thinking about whether I want to move capitals. That wasn't smart. So Baghdad remains. I definitely want this as a town. Sorry, as a city, excuse me. And let me just check on continent splits. So it's very helpful to have a city in every continent. And when we get onto the culture path, I'll explain why. On the purple front, I mean, it looks like, Hamadan, which was previously a city, seems like the best choice here. So that's 3 cities to start. Now, previously, Aksum was a city. Despite the fact that there will be a lot of penalties right now in here, I'm at 28 happiness. I don't necessarily have to complete overbuildings. So I'm going to leave it for now and just keep my choice open. And then the question is there any gold anywhere? Can I actually search? Yes, gold. Has that helped? Has that done anything? I'm not sure it has. Let's try that again. Enter? No. Sorry. No. Okay. That's probably one of the mods not working quite right. I really wanted this gold last time. You remember there was a kind of independent people here that I befriended instead. So is there anything that I really want other than gold? Not really. I haven't actually studied these with this new version of the game 1.2. I don't actually know what are the great resources that I want. There's one that actually results in extra growth, plus 3% extra growth. So tin is actually suddenly quite useful, so I can grow my towns and cities quite plump. I've got the gold here. There is no here. There is no tin. I think the fish, yeah, it's just a standard resource. It used to be previously, this was a factory resource that helped me with growth rate. But it's not actually anymore, and it's not that useful. It's just extra food. So yeah, I'm not sure there's necessarily anywhere that I want to settle. This tin, this gold, that's frankly the only place that I'm keen on. So I am going to buy a settler in here. Hope nothing spawns. And then try and grab something that gets these 2 resources. And if it does spawn, I will give serious consideration to wiping them out. I think this tin is in range. It's only 3 away, so short answer is I can probably get to it. And I think this is it, really. Right. Let's start doing some buildings. 14 food. Yes, please. Build over the inn. Sounds good. I don't think there's any resources, so I'm just going to use it to grow my borders. Same here. Oh, prefer. Extra 6 happiness? Not really. I've got the gold. That's what matters. Just grow my... That's fully grown all of my borders. So really at this point I could just pick what would give me the highest yields. And usually the city center would. 20% towards purchasing units with the silver. Yeah, let's do that. It's an empowered resource that would make investment in my war economy that much more effective. Coal is just out of range. This looks like a really choice tile with a factory resource, so I am going to head in this direction. I'm going to, despite this being the nicer tile, I am going to go this way just to grow my boundaries quicker. There is a ton of natural wonder in here that I can pick up, but yeah, that tin is out of range, so I'm just going to grow my border here. Nothing really useful. Oh yeah, I want to grow towards that tin, so that's a definite. Pick up this natural wonder, grow it that way. I may have to change Axum because the population is gonna get astronomical here into a city, so I can actually use these population usefully. Extra resource, 6 production. Go on. So I'm going to try and complete maneuver. Leadership, you can see plus 5% to all yields in a settlement when stationed on a district. Very helpful. But since I'm very close to completing it, so I can actually earn a commendation point, you know, extra movement. I think I find valor and duty not very useful, so I'm going to go down this route, try and finish this, earn the extra commendation point. Over here, fleet commander. I'm already at leadership. I'm going to go down. Heal 10 HP when upgraded. I'll go for... Yeah, I'm going to go for field commission. I actually have an extra one. I can complete another. Plus command radius, when you actually are able to shell from a distance, that's phenomenal. So it gives me just basically the idea of having things like battleships and cruisers that can attack from a distance. Fantastic upgrade. A kind of 1-star rated army commander, I'm just going to spend it in leadership. Frankly, nothing else. And I'm just going to station him probably in one of my towns. I'll come to that in a second, but one thing that you'll see is that all of the range units that we have actually built in the last era have basically just all been packed into commanders. So I don't really want them in them. Oh, I already have a cannon in here. So frankly, I just want to take you back to a city so you can give it its yields, please. Baghdad is unhappy. Let's talk about resource assignments then. As I've said before, remove everything so we can actually figure out what we're going to do with it. Now, filter for cities so we can figure out what we're going to do with the city resources. Notice that some of these give you extra yields, but only in cities with rail stations. I'm just looking for ones that are specific to the capital, which pearls are, and our capital is actually unhappy, so thank you, pearls. Try and make us happy. I still need to make the capital happy, so even though it doesn't have a rail station, I can make it positive, so done. This gives me extra culture in the capital, so yes, please. If you remember previously, that used to be 10%. It's kind of nerfed in the modern age. And then the rest of them, I'm just going to spread around. Hamadan is not that happy, so maybe you can get some happiness. You can get production. And then the rest of it, frankly, we're going to spread around. Now, if memory serves, one of the wonders that I've actually picked up gives me extra gold if there are resources in towns. So one of the things that I'm going to do right now is just make sure that I spread them around. And like the neutral ones like happiness, I don't necessarily have to be strategic around where I place them. So I'm just going to spread these around. Happiness and production, same thing. Happiness and food. Actually, food is important. Production in towns just gets turned into gold, so where you place it, frankly, doesn't matter. The gold will be empire-wide. The food, however, which all of these are, does matter. And you may have seen in the last age, I was building settlers. Not settlers. In the last age, I was building merchants and connecting all of my towns. The more you can connect your cities and towns, the more that it can essentially spread the food around. Now, Axum being in the middle means that it's going to be serving food to all of its neighboring cities. So I am just going to absolutely load this up with food and hopefully help turn all of the nearby towns and cities into very plump versions of themselves. The rest of them I am deliberately going to try and spread around. I've got 2 towns without resources. I'll take the wine and put it down there. And that feels like the best setup for now. Now notice some of our previous resources, they have become factory. Citrus ends up with 5% production. It's taxed, so 2 of these would turn into 10% production towards training naval units. Chocolate gives me 3% each. Factory resources allows me to construct buildings and wonders quicker. So that getting that in quickly would be quite helpful. That's 15% on the line. And another 15% in cotton. So actually, finding coffee might actually be helpful. Tea is extra science, quite helpful. Tin, the growth rate, I want that one. And these, the culture with the kaolin, and the quinine with the extra healing. So really, there's a few of these are very much geared towards conquest, so extra production towards naval units, extra production towards land units, plus healing. That's really needed when I'm starting to go into war. So I'm going to prioritize for now the extra culture, the extra science, the extra growth rate, and the extra production. These are going to be my top choices first. Done. Government-wise, I find at this stage in the game that Elective Republic is helpful, although the extra 20% gold is very useful. And the extra 30% relationships from endeavors, being able to choose which one I boost, whether it's culture or science, allows me to balance these two so that I don't complete one substantially ahead of the other. Right, let's talk about science. So, you want to industrialize as quickly as you can to get the economic victory going. Factories are all the way down to mass production. I actually usually go for academics first because it has the Oxford University, which grants me 2 free technologies when built. So this may actually be faster to go for Oxford than to mass production because it actually could help you along the way. That's science. On the civics front, now when you get to, I'm going to say it is actually political theory. Once you get to political theory, you get to pick your ideology, or you're forced to pick your ideology. Now, in my experience, it tends to kick off some kind of event, like a quest, that can actually be quite difficult to complete. So in my experience, exhausting these, as in researching these civics before picking my ideology, is actually quite helpful. Oh yeah, there you go. unlocks ideology trees. Now, from the choices, one of the best wonders in the game is the Dogo Onsen. Essentially, it means that the settlement that I build it in gains a population every time I enter a celebration. So I'm going to pick a city and make sure that I prioritize this in. Social policies. What's going to give me yields? I have tons of science on the table. I'm at 372. I could boost it substantially ahead of my culture if I'm not careful. So I'm going to go for extra gold and science, extra wonder production, so I can build these two very quickly, the Oxford University and the Onsen. And then, yeah, extra science. I mean, who could say no to plus 66? And let's get building.
The memory of having sat at someone's feet. Now,
of course, Monaco had to spawn exactly where I wanted to put my town. So I'll be honest, I am going to conquer them. I'm not going to keep them. That's twice now that they've taken a spot, but with the gold and the tin, I am saying no. Question is, what do I want to prioritize? So looking around, I mean, Vienna's not long for this world. It's right in the middle of Tekumesh. He's got to conquer it. It's unfriendly. It will take me too long to friend them. They're going to be gone. So I am essentially going to try and prioritize the ones that are going to be wiped off the map first. And Napoleon is quite aggressive. He's probably going to go for San Marino. Try and befriend them before he does. I tend to go for military ones last. I find economic, science, and culture just that much more useful, frankly. Right, now that we've researched the Oxford University, let's make our way down to mass production, please. And starting on the explorers early on, very helpful. Celebration, you can see my science is way ahead of my culture, so yes, balance them out. Extra science and culture, I'm going to want all of these without a doubt. So the more celebrations I can get, the better. This commander is going to make their way down to Monaco. No reason, nothing to see here. Right. You, on the other hand, I need 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive units. I've sent the 5th here. And I actually need another one in Hamadan. So realistically, this is 1, 2. I will put 1 here immediately and unload you guys. And this commander, the question is, do I need to stick around, gain some experience, because Omduran is almost certainly going to go for me. So who's furthest? I need 2 more defensive units, so I'm going to buy in here 1 field cannon. And for Al Mausil, another defensive range unit. And then that's all of the defense sorted out. You can join this commander. This settler. I'm just going to position you around here. Again, no reason.
cross the sea like a bird.
Remember how I said earlier I'm going to prioritize the building of certain wonders, and then I actually didn't kick it off at all? Does that sound familiar, or like anything I would do? Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I do prioritize it. You can go here. And you need to go there. Right, the question is, who do I want, which one of these cities do I want to grow first? Axum is still unhappy. Interesting. I'm going to have to rebalance my resources a bit to sort that out. So Wasat is fairly busy. Baghdad, fairly busy. There's not a lot of space. Hamadan is very tempting. Let me remind myself on the continent, because I do remember that although I don't actually have anything on green, and there's only 4 continents, isn't there? But in general, Hamadan has more space. So I am going to get the Onsen in here. Probably boost this tile by placing it there. And, oh wow, 16 turns. I think I'm going to have to... I did mention that I'm going to upgrade Axum to a city, so I'm doing that now. There was another wonder that I can't build anymore. Okay. What are you going to build? We need to build over some of these older buildings and get some happiness in. Everything here is obsolete. Maybe immediately put some happiness in Wasat. Can I move some? So you're happy immediately. Done.
In the Enlightenment.
Right, I have enough influence to go after the next town. San Marino seems to be alive and well for now. So I want to go for culture and economic. I think, again, in close proximity to Napoleon. Though actually being a pain to Amina, who still hates my guts and is hostile. Yes, please. I'm just going to keep for a while going for the quickest one. So, I talked about researching the explorers fairly quickly. Let's talk about them. Around this map are essentially artifacts. You can uncover them once you have a museum around to basically look for them. So in my experience, buying these explorers, because there's it really takes a long time to navigate the map. 1 per continent is very helpful to just get this going. It does take a long time. You can already see I've got this here. I need to do my own research and it will reveal some more across the map. So getting an explorer in Baghdad, getting an explorer in Wasat. You can see just how expensive they also become. And eventually, I don't think I can afford it right now. Let me just double check. Yeah, I can also do my research in here. Can I afford him? No, probably next turn. I earn some experience. And now you can fortify. Explorer, go research. Let me just double check. I haven't done something silly. Yeah, yellow, red. Yeah, I'm good. And therefore Hamadan was in purple. So, purchase the explorer. You can see just how expensive they were in aggregate. Get my research done, which will reveal everywhere on red all of these artifacts that I can now excavate. And you can see I have 2 that I can bring up now. But I can also dig ones from Natural Wonder, so I'm going to head there as well and pick up 3 artifacts of the 15. Monaco's got 4 turns before this infantry unit joins. Do I really want to take it on with just infantry? And only 2 of them. I think I'm going to wait for this 3rd infantry to arrive. I don't believe I've got any more to spare, have I? No. I probably have enough influence yet for the next one. So I've gone for this economic one. I've gone for this science one. I want a culture one. And then is Dublin going to survive 10 more turns, or is Machiavellian after them? I think realistically Tecumseh is going to be distracted with Vienna, that I can probably befriend this one and it will survive 10 more turns. You go and find me some artifacts. That's not what I wanted to do. So, what artifacts have you found me? There's 1 here, elsewhere in purple, 2, and then the Natural Wonder.
men accept. So
How are you doing? 5 turns. I can't see. The fact that I don't have visibility makes me nervous. Could be a whole army massed here trying to invade them, but I just can't see them. Do I want more resources and happiness? I think the answer is yes. Oh, my capital was still unhappy. Oh wow, Baghdad is very unhappy. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Not exactly over the moon still, but -4 rather than... Right, let's have a look. Where are the artifacts here? One is there. Such a huge landmass, and they're all down there, okay. Next to Monaco, for some reason. Some bizarre and unknown reason. Everything is obsolete. No wonder it's unhappy. So, just pick something neutral for now. Figure out what we're doing with this population. Extra food and culture, extra happiness in general. I think getting more celebrations in, given some of the cards that we have available, I think is the most sensible choice I have. I'm going to keep boosting my culture. When I do go for the 20%, you notice just how much of a boost it gives me. Right. Extra gold and happiness. Yes, please. I'm actually tempted to remove this, to remove the 33 penalty. I mean, it's like 10%. No, it's fine. Look at these, plus 17. Where is that plus 17 going? It's probably because of the specialist. Yes, I will put production buildings in here. No, again, too good of a tile. Hermitage up there, I am totally okay with. No, you make your way all the way down here. Have you arrived yet? 2 more turns. Now, Monaco just was hit by a flood. It only actually damaged 1 unit, so I don't necessarily have to rush, and I still only have just the 2, so I am going to wait 1 more turn, then I will attack. We should probably spend some of this gold. It's not really doing me much. So, anything that will give me extra food or extra production, because that translates into gold, or just pure gold, right? Time to talk about resources. Notice the rail station and the port. So, to get the rail stations going, which, remember, for the economic victory, it's all about the railroad tycoon. I need to have a railroad in my capital. 13 turns. I am just going to... Oh, at 13 turns. My production in my capital is horrific. So I want to fix that. I will get the military academy. 13 production. It's a really good tile, but I have to. Yeah, that's shaved off 4.4 turns. And do I want to spend the gold on the rail station here? I think I don't have the patience for waiting that long, so yes. I'm going to replace the farm. And where does it give me the most amount of production? Because that's what I'm really lacking right now. So 6 here, 2 there. At least Baghdad is finally happy. Right. Now, my gold for a period of time is going to go into cities. towns that can accommodate A, a rail station, and B, a port. So I'm going to prioritize towns that are on the coast first. And that will become evident once I get the first factory going.
Kings are the slaves.
Extra culture point? Sure. Yeah, you can see I'm promoting away by just continuously attacking. You can be a better defender. Extra settlement limited. Not like I'm doing anything with them right now. And the extra culture. So, I don't feel like I'm going to... Actually, plus 43, that's the best choice right now. But I don't feel like I'm going to make any alliances anytime soon, so... Hamadan's production and Baghdad is not great. So, we'll prioritize these. We have, I think, enough to befriend the next one. So that was this culture state. This scientific state, that'll be next. If Dublin is still around at that point, I will befriend them next. And then I'll go back to Moson Khani for the extra gold. There's 3 of you now. Actually, I can upgrade you first. I'll do that. Give you that bit of an edge. And then I'll attack next turn. I've got enough gold now to get my port, so I will do so. Extra 10, yes. Right, the reason I prioritized the one with the port, is you can see now I can actually have up to 4 slots in that town. When you think about factory resources, that's quite helpful. You can only place one type of a factory resource per town. So in essence, I can place all 3 cottons in here. I couldn't do a mix of chocolate and coffee though. But now once I place a factory in Sabah, I can start to place these down. So for a period, until I say a period, it's not very long now because mass production is only 2 turns away, I will prioritize getting train stations and ports in towns that are by the coast. No, not enough gold. That's why having these gold resources for the discounts becomes immensely helpful. It is very expensive to get the factories, the rail stations, and the ports. And that's the only way to get the economic victory.
Men accept.
Right, Monaco. Time to have a word about your spawn point. I mean, I warned you. I think everybody here can attest to the fact that I said, if anything spawns in here, I am going to clear up to claim this tin and this gold. And this is exactly what I'm doing. It's entirely your fault. You could have prevented it. One artifact. Now make your way over to here next, please. So, given how many I have coming my way as suzerains, getting a free technology every time I get one, fantastic. And then obviously I'll go for the extra 5% science, the extra 25% toward completing projects in cities. So these are the 3 that I'm going to prioritize for now. I'm going to start with free technology, please.
Soon shall thy...
And an extra scientific point. Fantastic. And what gives me most science? Right now, looks like 1 science per quarter. Yeah, that settler is in the wrong spot right now, so I'm going to move it away so it doesn't get destroyed.
Just as modern mass production.
Okay, Monaco. I think we're going to say safely goodbye this turn. And then where do I want to settle? So, 1, 2, 3. This is the furthest I can afford to be away from the tin. And everywhere above that is blocked. So really, this is the best spot, next to the gold, next to as many of these resources. Can't build any wonders. 17. Oh, hang on. Rail station. Get that going. Building the rail station, because it actually allows you to move your troops around the map next to the town center, is actually quite helpful in my experience, so I will do that first. And now that we have beelined mass production, we can start to think around what do we want to fill in next. I'm going to keep an eye on any particular wonders that I want. And I think the answer is I like them all. But am I prioritizing one ahead of the other? Let's get the battery power station in. Not exactly running after settlement limits right now. And I am hoarding them for when I do go and attack. Have I got enough for the next one? Yes, I do. So, Dublin. How are you faring? You're gone. Exactly as expected. Question is, the other ones that I have been befriending. This is now my suzerain. This could be absolutely pursued next by Napoleon. And I'm not really seeing, frankly, much of a competition for these independent states. Yeah. So it's basically some military ones. Has Vienna gone as I had predicted? It was, yeah, gone. Right. So, Omdurman, I think, is going to be next, even though it's unfriendly to me. And then I'll go after the military ones last.
The well-being of...
You can pack up. You've got still a turn. And you can now settle. Excellent. Now I'm going to deliberately and immediately... I think I can get a port. Yes, I can. So I am going to build a rail station. And then I'm going to try and grow you towards the gold and the tin. Port can only be in here. I've got to prioritize these, but fishing key also can only be in there. I think the port is a 2-spot building. No, I can stack them. And that's the tin. So these are the priorities for now. I'm going to start saving my... Actually, expanding my borders is also a pretty good idea. Stop Amina from stealing it away from me. Thank you. So I'll do just that. 1, 2, 3. So I need to grab this queen in. And I mean, I think it's out of her range anyway, so I don't have to prioritize that anymore. Artifacts. culture attribute point, scientific attribute point. What have I got? How are we? I mean, with the science, that's kind of my worry. Once I picked up that benefit from my first suzerain of a free research every time I kind of suzerain another one, this is going to start to complete the tree for me fairly quickly. Ironically, I'm not going to choose happiness. I'm going to try and prioritize production here. So Tenju, you can see it has basically reached its limit there. And as a result of that, any growth that I get into Juno would essentially result in a settler that can place around. Well, not settler. You'll see in a moment. But what do I want to do with this? Now that it can't really grow any further, I basically can turn it into a farming town. We haven't talked about specializations in prior ages. I'm not playing very well, if I'm honest. But you can shift away from growing a town as quickly as possible to specializing it and giving extra yields. Now, it's a bit late for using Hub Town. I've kind of befriended the ones that I care about. So it's extra food or extra production. I'm going to go for extra food. You're well connected. I'm going to make sure you are definitely well connected. Look at that, plus 5% gold for every city-state I'm a suzerain of, 115 extra gold per turn. That's almost 10%. I can get also in my capital extra science and extra gold, so that will be my second priority. There are only, sadly, 2 gold towns, so I can't get shipping lanes, which is also beautiful. But in the modern age, you're going to find that you can basically get connections everywhere. I'm going to keep boosting culture, and I'm going to now load in anything that doesn't penalize my happiness, frankly. Anything that rewards it would be even better, but oh, gone. More culture and happiness. Who could say no? Right, can I build my first factory? Have I got enough gold yet? No, I'm at 148. I'll keep spending it. I really do need to prioritize this. So I can station you in here on the off chance that Amina gets ideas. Next resource, please. Or next artifact, I should say.
The beauty.
So, that's my first merchant, and I'm deliberately trying to make sure that all of my towns that I specialize are connected as much as possible. The more connected they are, the more they can spread their bonuses around. So, I built a merchant in Tijuno, which would allow me to now send food down here. But I am going to just build one more merchant. Have I got enough gold to buy? How do I not have space for a factory? Do I need to build it in my capital first? I may do. Not enough gold.
It is cold,
The Dogo
but we have
Onsen.
sake and the hot spring.
Despite visiting Japan, we actually never visited an onsen. Don't know, the idea of just public bathing, I don't know what's relaxing about that, if I'm honest. What a beautiful looking world wonder. Now, a reminder, it means every time I go into a celebration, Hamadan is actually going to earn an extra population, so
The
fantastic.
well-being of the sovereign.
Happiness. I find the culture benefits be like, with the exception of the Antiquity Age, when you can actually get a free civic, the rest of it is frankly underwhelming. You know, they're one-time bonuses, an artifact, a social policy. I mean, they're very useful, so I'll get that. Now we're on to political theory, and I'll be forced to pick an ideology soon. The Red Fort, get that going. No, not here. This looks like a good spot. It'll turn this into a super tile, so I'll do that. Let's get the extra science without the penalties. The minus 36 food doesn't quite appeal to me just yet, especially when I'm still growing. Right, prioritize gold, please. Notice that I can now spawn basically a merchant anywhere. They're out of range, so it's not entirely true what I said earlier that everywhere would be in range. But I can basically click on anything and you can send them instantly and build a route. So in the modern age, this is so much more helpful. And you end up with all of the resources immediately, including the extra gold and a discount. So, how am I distributing these? Kazan has nothing. Now it does. I think everything has something now. Let's just prioritize production in my towns. Sorry, in my cities, excuse me. Next turn, I'm going to start befriending Omduran, because I have nothing better to spend my influence on. You have survived so far, although there's a commander on its way, so I may be better off speeding you up a bit. I think, realistically, we're talking about 1 turn, 2 to unload, and if you've got some defenses, you're going to be fine. If I got anything in range that can slow this down, I don't think I can get there in time. But exactly as expected, Napoleon is the aggressive individual that I thought he would be. Who would have thought?
The beauty of
You know, I'm gonna just park in front of Amina. It's fine to be intimidating to her, isn't it? Plus I've got a town here, a town there soon. That can further intimidate her if needed. Get this artifact though. Right, gold. Can I get my first factory, please? Now, memory says that the factory is a 2-space building? Or am I imagining this? Yes, it is. So that's... Oh, no, because I have a military there. Right, that wasn't smart. Never mind. So now that I have this, I think I am going to get the port as well.
the one who adapts his policy.
And I think I should be able to buy a factory now. Yes. Excellent. So I can get started on my economic victory. I am again going to try and delay my civics. The reason I'm sort of delaying it, to be fair, I'm playing as Russia. I am going to pick communism. However, the more I can delay it, the more I can understand what the AI is picking to try and choose something that is a counter to them, because that would allow me to get the military points even that much quicker. But we're going to have to let them decide. So I am going to prioritize tin first for the extra growth. So that's 9% extra growth in my first factory. And next turn, I will start loading things up. Not a celebration, is it? Free speech with communists coming around the corner. How ironic. How far away are you? 3 turns. Because I can't see. That's the problem. So the commander didn't come out this way where my explorer could have kept an eye on them. It went this way, right in range of that volcano. If I spend the influence, I might shave a turn off. Yes. I'm not going to be able to get it to just 1. So I'm going to save the rest. In fact, I'm going to go and use the rest on Omduran. Happiness again. I mean, settling right on my borders, but the extra influence was very welcome, allowing me to do something useful. Buy my factories, don't forget. Right. Next factory, that's 1. Load up my factory resources. So, choice is culture or science. I mean, my culture is huge right now. But, I mean, the thing is, once you actually choose communism, your culture is going to suffer compared to your science. So, anyway, that's that. Let's pick the next location. I do remember building. Yeah, so a factory in here would actually do something useful for me. Yeah. Is it culture? Training towards land units? I mean, given it's got 4 slots, I'm tempted to put in the cotton. Start working on the economic victory a bit quicker. And actually, coffee I said I want to prioritize. Yes, because that's 15% production. In fact, I am going to do exactly that. Means my buildings and my wonders go out quicker. Is it wonders? Yeah, wonders. Done.
I wonder anybody
Oxford
does
University.
anything at Oxford but dream
I wonder anybody does anything at Oxford but dream and remember. William Butler. I mean, it looks very beautiful amongst this city, doesn't it? Look at all the smoke of industry in the background. And even more wonders as well in the background. Thank you.
every passion borders
And then
on the
Hermitage.
but the collective
Gives me
passion
space to actually
borders on the
stow away
chaos of
all of
memories.
my artifacts that I've been collecting. I actually visited Hermitage a long time ago, 1993. Phenomenal museum and a beautiful building, as you can see here.
The face of a city changes
2
faster.
techs.
The face of a we annihilated.
I can get going on flight. Flight, very helpful when it comes to conquests, as you will find when I get going. Can't build any wonders in here, so I'm just gonna look for yields. There's usually a quest around radio stations, and it does take a long time to build them. But is that the highest yielding one? Opera House looks better on culture. I mean, laboratory, plus 21. Yes, please. Plus 11 production. Eiffel Tower, where can you go? In that slot. I don't really want to build there. Laboratory, however, plus 13. Actually, I'm going to get the extra production first. Where was it? Military Academy. I want to put the lab here to stack it up. No, I'm going to put the production here. Who's after me? Can fortify. Right. Let's think about where the next factory is going to be going. I think I can put a port in here. In there as well. Yeah. So rail station first. Attribute point. That's a wild one I can get to pick. How are we doing economically? 82 gold per turn. It's not very much now, is it? Yeah, that is not very much at all. Diplomacy. I've got the extra happiness. The extra social policy might actually be more useful. The extra 15% food and happiness towards maintaining specialists. It's really hardly anything. Yeah, you can see that a lot of this is starting to become not very useful in the grand scheme of things. I'll get the extra social policy, or work my way towards it anyway.
The members of the nation.
Prioritize 7 happiness. Disgusting. $180 extra science. Yes.
We annihilate.
I thought I already researched radio. I'm going to pick this one. Extra 10% science in my capital. I think the resources and 10% gold in my capital. I think I've got good things in my capital. Keep the culture going. You can see just how quickly it started to exceed, as in how quickly my science caught up. So even though I've got 20% on my culture, my science is actually keeping up. And this is before communism. It's actually just going to go insane afterwards. Keep going for extra production, food, happiness, every yield. Yes, please. Specialists are just wonderful. I might actually have to go out of my way now and pick some towns that I want to upgrade to cities deliberately to make room for wonders, because I'm just out of space. Right, this can only go in the museum. Sorry, only in Baghdad, I believe. I'm gonna check. So it's a city resource. It gives 10% gold, 10% science. My highest science is Baghdad. My highest gold is Baghdad. So yes, it is in my interest to put it in the capital. Done. Let's look at how our great works are doing. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of 15. I don't have that many slots, even with the Hermitage, so I am going to have to start putting up museums at some point to make more room for them. But in general, I'm going to need more towns. And sorry, I'm going to need more cities. Is that it for suzerains? I think that is everything but military states. Any of the surviving ones anyway. So yeah, 2 more military states to get. 3. May want to prioritize them next before they get wiped out. And that would be everything.
The members of the nation.
Notice I'm doing everything I can to avoid choosing my ideology just yet. But I am going to run out of time eventually. So I've got 4 or 5 artifacts to get that cultural attribute point. I mean, 5th one is well on its way. So let me just think about attack-wise. Economic, I mean, miles to go. Military will go very quickly. Science, still way to go. Culture, well on its way. 13%. Now, I did start purchasing, yep, in Janet. So let's get more of these in. I want to prioritize happiness and culture, but I think I need more quantities of resources, frankly.
The sound of will.
That's flight. In terms of science, I'm literally just going for what's cheapest, because I'm so far ahead. Let's just have a look. 1,000 plus 1,050. And everybody else's 50 is basically less than my 1,000. So I can basically just not worry about this whatsoever. Keep going for what is quickest and cheapest. Complete the science tree so quickly relative to everybody else. No, Machiavelli. I am going to make sure that this is mine. Right. Next town that needs factories, etc. Pretty sure I've got Kazan done, yeah. And Saba is done. Nikan? No, can't build a port. Can build a port, so rail station first, please. More next turn.
The world is
Red
the place
Fort.
we prove real.
The world is
by
the place we
dying.
prove real by dying in it. Very dark, Salman Rushdie, very dark. Well, fireworks by the time the Red Fort was completed. I didn't realize it was that recent of a world
The
wonder.
well-being of faraway strangers. The sound of
Mobilization. Again, just keep avoiding ideology. So far, I'm not seeing anybody near me. So I may end up having to pick communism without knowing what anybody has picked. Machiavelli, trying to steal government secrets. Minus 24 penalty for 6 turns. I'm absolutely over the moon with that, because it means you can't spend your influence trying to befriend them. However, I can. Ooh, Battersea Station. Yes, please. I was flooded, and therefore I lost access to something I was trading with them. Never, not to matter. Right, let's get the factory going, and then port next turn, because I can't afford both at the same time. Factory can go here. Port your next turn. Get these resources in. Only 2. Happiness it is.
the well-being of far.
Ooh, that's 5. Geographic Society, first milestone complete. +1 artifact. Right, get this from the Natural Wonder, please. And an extra culture attribute point. I mean, wise man would say +57, but I'm a bit of a completionist, so I am going to pick the weaker one try and complete the rest of the tree. Capitalism. Oh, hegemony, extra settlement limit, culture imperialism, another card for my government. Sure. Again, can't build any wonders here. What's good? Radio station looks good. Said that previously. Aerodrome. I still need to spend more influence to make sure I am ahead. I'm going to have to keep checking every turn, not that I can actually do anything about it anymore. In terms of wonders, I think they're all mine. These are the available wonders. These are the ones that are completed. And I think I own them all. Machiavelli has Wei Yang Palace. So, yes, that's one I would love to take. Thank you. So, Machiavelli, with your wonders, and the fact that you're on a continent where I cannot get any artifacts, I think building a military that heads your way is the plan of record. Now, I'm going to do that with, frankly, not a land army, but aircraft carriers, navy, that's the plan for you. Let's get the port in here first. And then get the next set of factories and ports, etc., rail stations. It's giving me more slots. Do I want to swap it out for citrus? Yes. I'll put in the chocolate next turn, or in 2 turns' time with the next town. +1 artifact. And you grab this from the natural wonder. So I think I have to put something in here so I can build over it. So I'm going to do that. Modern extra yields, unique extra yields. So I'm going to prioritize them. Now I have to be careful with the buildings that I pick in Moscow, because I think aerodrome takes up the entire slot. So I have to make sure that I pick, like, for example, this spot, which I will, leaving the rail station next to it. I didn't buy it, good. And the port. Then the factory, I can't build it or queue it up just yet. I need to make sure that I have room for the museum to show off all of these beautiful artifacts. Oh, it's finally friendly. So you actually head back. And I'm still ahead of Machiavelli, so I think we've got this one. How are we doing on artifacts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the natural wonders, that will get me to 9. Still short of my necessary 15 to complete culture.
The young men shall fight.
Open my borders to them? No, I don't like you and I'm preparing to go to war with you. So, starting to make you unfriendly on the cheap feels like a fantastic plan to me. Extra culture. The extra influence, I mean, +6, almost insulting. 30% towards overbuilding. I'm not really doing much of that, but go on. And I am going to pick westernization next and get extra science against culture, but I am deliberately delaying it. Al Mosul, you've got a rail station here. Got a factory next. And you've got a port next. That's everything. And let's load you up with resources. We've got more quinine now.
We feel free because we...
A spy has been discovered, a Mina, trying to steal technology. Gives me extra influence, which I can spend immediately to speed up Omduran, but given I'm ahead, and I don't think Machiavelli can catch up, I'm actually better off starting to suzerain some of these military states that are not long for this world. Somebody is potentially attacking Helsinki. I may have just misspent 229 influence. Plus 1 artifact. Right. So, as you advance... Okay, so I've just completed hegemony, haven't I? You can actually do more research to reveal more artifacts. I'm going to head back towards Baghdad, where I need to build a museum now to be able to do exactly that. Everybody's spying on me, or at least attempting to spy on me. Because I don't want to run out of space, I'm going to make sure that I do build the aerodrome. I think these are the highest yield tiles. Actually, let me just double check that I'm not denying myself a better spot. So this is 15 here. Opera House. So this is a great spot in general. That's relatively weak. Cannery. Right, so aerodrome, you're going to be up there. And I have my first air commander. Now, given its location, where I could be in striking distance of Himiko and Mina, I am going to pick a more aggressive promotion with raids. That's +3 combat strength. Tempted to get some of the science projects going soon, but there's plenty of time. So I'm going to keep adding anything that gives me more gold. Just more yields. Next turn, this is mine. I've run out of space. Have I? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Surely I can put you somewhere. Now, rather than legging it all the way back up here, I'll show you in a second how useful some of these railroads can be. Okay, in case I'm building museums rather than buying them, sure. So, you have to be within 1 tile of the rail station. Once you are, the magic Move by Rail button will be available. Click it, and it will reveal to you where you can go next. And I'm obviously trying to head all the way up here. Have I not built a rail station in... No, I haven't. But at least I can cross a massive part of my journey, rather than sort of legging it slowly. Okay, you go and claim some of these green artifacts. I'm surprised I can actually see them. I'm basically ready for a war with Machiavelli, but before I do that, I just want to make sure that my economic victory is assured. First milestone.
You asked me once if I remembered
Battersea Power Station. Or smoke into the distance. It's a very polluted
It is not from the benevolence
civilization,
of the butcher,
isn't it?
the brewer, or the baker that we
Extra
expect our dinner.
limits. Specialist limits, fantastic. Right, as you build over things, you can actually claim extra artifacts. I'm going to do that. That completes my second milestone for culture, so I only need 5 more artifacts. It's very common here in the UK that when you're building, you may actually discover some like Roman remains, and then suddenly you're building site comes to a total stop as a result of that. But discovering artifacts is actually not that unusual. Military Academy, yes. So this spot has fantastic kind of surroundings. I'm actually half tempted to purchase it. Anything else that would boost my production so I can just keep powering through these world wonders. Now once I get this... No, I'm not sure I can actually build here. I'm going to have to be very careful now. Let's just get this military academy and see what it clears up afterwards. Actually, put a population here. I should be able to build over it next turn. Right, you can be logistics, another artifact. I'm going to be overloaded with these fairly soon. So Napoleon is being very aggressive with his settlements. You leave space for the AI will fill it. That's the reality of things. But doesn't matter any of that. Let's just get my last factory and then I can actually start spending my gold on something other than slowly propelling myself towards the economic victory. Janet is done. I think I've built it. No. So factory here, please, and a port. 22 food. I mean, who could say no to that? Get that going. And that's my last factory resources done. I've got plenty of space if I find, in general, I've got plenty of space if I find other resources across to place them, but I can start diverting, frankly, my gold to something else. And actually my influence, Amina's going to actually take them and befriend them. I can go to war to Amina and stop this, which I shall do. So next turn, I will actually choose my ideology. So when I do take Amina out, I want to conquer you next. Aerodynamics. Now communism. 2 turns. So I actually can't take her town next turn, which may actually be the case anyway. Now that I've done my research, you can see it's revealed 5 more artifacts in the Red Continent. So, I mean, realistically, I've got line of sight of the 15 now. I don't have to worry about it much. But I don't have space for them, have I? I do. 2 more. 12 artifacts, 2 more spots. I actually will need to build at least 1 museum to make room for it all. Or at least 1 more museum anyway. San Marino, if I'm not careful, it's not going to be long for this world. What do I want to do with my money next? So I feel like spending it on things like groceries and ironworks, cheap. 568 gold for 19 food that gets distributed all over the place. So I'm going to go around my towns, pick the ones that have something ridiculous like 24 food and prioritize these. But at the same time, I'm not going to say no to any town that gives me the option for building more factories and rail stations. You can see just by the fact that I started to begin researching communism that I can actually now take Amina out and this will count. Napoleon trying to perform espionage, of course, failing once again. I can buy an army commander. I mean, whenever I get the option to upgrade a commander, I'm going to take it. And it helps that they come immediately with a promotion. Communism completed. Have 125 population across all settlements within 13 turns. I'm fairly sure I've got this already. So, I can get an extra science point. I can get tons of gold. I can get a point towards my ideology legacy path. I'm guessing for communism this will be like science or military or something. I'll take the attribute actually. That's 2 scientific attribute points, so my completionist tells me that's everything in science. Next one will be repeatable. Tempted to stow it away bring out the healed and upgraded unit, I might be able to end the Mina this turn. Oh, there's a district somewhere. This is probably it. Oh no, I'm going to keep settlement. Silly of me. So I only got 2 points, but I can... Like, Amina has been a pain in my behind for quite the entire game, so I am going to just take her out for the sake of it. But sadly, actually this military town, Napoleon has dealt with it for me. Thank you very much, Napoleon. Was it Napoleon or was it me by taking out her capital? I actually don't know. So Belgrade is on its way with its influence. Helsinki is on its way. And I don't think there's any city-states left, is there? Yeah, they're the only 2 remaining independent ones. None of the other city-states belong to anybody else. I've done a good job claiming them all. So maybe the best thing that I can do here is just speed this up a bit. And we're done tank guns. Given you've attacked me, I'm so glad you've spawned with whatever it was that I've completed. So yeah, come join the party. Now, Machiavelli is around here, so sending the extra unit there makes most sense. I think I need to do a oh, he's already digging it out. Cheeky. Right, so with my gold now, anything that will improve my economy, but now I do need to build something that would allow me to start taking all over these towns. I'm very happy with the idea of taking Amina out of the game, and I do like the idea of taking all of these fantastic towns from Machiavelli, so I think that is the better option. Can I purchase? Let's just see. I can purchase everything here. No, no suitable location to spawn this unit. I can build my aircraft carrier there, but my planes I'm going to have to bring over. So once the aerodrome is done in Baghdad, I'm going to start loading it up. The culture, you can see that my science is way ahead of my culture. And therefore I've been avoiding westernization. It's just going to get me into more trouble. I am tempted to go logistics again here just because it would allow me to stack up my planes quite easily. Right, city. I think no, city park. That's all the buildings I can get into this city. You can all get loaded up and heal up. Right, I did say I want to go around buying some of these cheaper items, so I'll do exactly that. In towns, well-connected towns that have high-yielding grocers, I will get the gold. Sorry, the food. 28. How could I possibly say no to that? I'm going to just prioritize making sure I can build modern planes. And I think the answer is yes, I can. I can build fighters. So really, I am 6 turns away from completing the science tree. How are we on the civics tree? So Russian civics, I'm done. Communism, there's 2 more to go. Then modern civics, I have 2 more to go. So I'm not actually doing too bad in terms of balance. Let's get on the communism front. That was 1 turn. Let's get that done. See what is under threat. A few things. Right, so remember how I said when you've completed, like when there's no more place for a town to grow, it will start spawning migrants. I said the world settlements at the time. This is what I have now. Essentially, if I use these in other towns, I can actually place extra population to start working extra tiles. So that is what I will do. I really need to get this rail station done so I can actually get things into Moscow a little bit more easily than I am right now. I am absolutely on board with attacking Napoleon now that he is withdrawing. So that is the plan. I'm going to get all of these to heal up. And then I'm chasing it. And I'm out of slots, haven't I? No, not yet. Nearly. Right, one of these had, if memory serves, a rail station to build. No, not worth it. Second milestone for economic victory. One of my towns have been defeated. 2 of my towns have been defeated. That is not great. I don't even know where the second one was. Oh, down here probably? Not sure. Ouch. That's destroyed a lot of my buildings. Is that in Janet? Yep, repair all please. The commanders earn double points or +1 rage combat strength. I think double points sounds good to me. And that is science tree done. Not far off the civics tree either. So, getting these going soon makes a lot of sense. Getting a launch pad done also makes sense. This requires 2 slots. Can't stack anything else next to it. I imagine that used to be here and it was all evicted with the volcano, but now that I've repaired it, instantly of course, can all go back in. I think a few planes are just going to massively speed this up. So I am going to purchase a few with the gold that I have. Now, there are 3 different types of planes here. You've got the dive bomber, which is great at attacking land and naval units. You have the heavy bomber, which is great at attacking, essentially it's a siege unit, so it would be great at essentially lowering the defenses of a town or any district. And then a fighter, which is great for defending against air units. In this case, I'm so far ahead I don't really need to worry about fighters. I'm mainly interested in bombers and dive bombers. So I'm going to buy 1 per turn for a while now. Disasters everywhere. Nile River flooding. Repair everything, please. Range strength now. Yes. That's future tech done. There are 2 artifacts on this continent still remaining. That's 1. That's 2. I probably only need a couple of fighters and mainly bomber. What about you? Everything's out of range, really. I can take this ship out. It's weaker against it as a unit because it's a bomber, but let's get it done. Excellent. This bomber, however, probably can get to Tokyo, so I will. In fact, the commander can just walk in. Thank you. You can see what I mean by having the extra factories. That's helpful because I need a factory with 6 slots to be able to take all of the cotton, but I don't have any, so did you know it is? I'm going to buy a ranged unit here. Do I want a ranged unit? Actually, my little ship feels like the better choice. I've been sleeping on my navy. That's 4 battleships here. Make your way out. Right. Baghdad's units are just out of range of everything. So I am going to be purchasing, if I can, an aircraft carrier. And over here, I'm going to keep purchasing bombers, which you can see can just absolutely destroy all of these. I find the carrier operations absolutely necessary. It gives me 2 more slots. Then it allows me to move and rebase them to get them closer to the combat. And I can purchase 1 more. No, I've already purchased my 1 unit. Never mind. You, however, can take out this scout. I think, to make my life easier, I was very tempted to go after Machiavelli, but realistically, I've got a war on the home front. I can make this continent entirely mine. That feels like the more sensible thing to be doing, if I'm honest. Oh, no, you're not getting away with just 1 town. You gonna reject this deal? That's his best town. He's taken out 2. I don't really want them. I want them to come back as... I'm deliberately going to make sure that he rejects it. That's my plan. There. Propose. Go for it. Reject this deal. You have got nothing of interest to me. Gao is the biggest town you have. So, peace with Amina. And I'm really going for Napoleon. You shouldn't have gone after me. He used to be my ally all the way back. Just park you outside Machiavelli's territory. No reason. Actually, no, that Scarta is out of range now. Not for my fighter, surely. Oh, I've made peace. Why would I do such a thing? That's a travesty. Can I take him out? I should. Can walk straight into Mason Kani. Question is, if I do, will it allow me to liberate it? No, I have to take it over. I don't really want this town. I mean, it's such a small area. Raising a settlement is not a good option for you. It basically decreases future war support. which is not something I really want to do that frequently. But I don't exactly want to keep it. It's a rubbish town. I know that heavy bombers are not effective against units, but it's just all XP for my commander, so why not? I am going to head towards Kyoto to get that done as well. Another volcano. Future civics here. That's the culture tree completed. Now there's really no point in continuing to collect artifacts like I am, but frankly, if I can collect them, it denies others from collecting them. So I do. I'm gonna get a second aircraft carrier for essentially all of these bombers that I have up here. I've got 4 of them that I need to relocate. In Africa, there's 2 more artifacts. One at the very south. Here's the second one. Realistically, in reach of this explorer, this one isn't. Have I got... Must have some kind of railroad in reach here from Baghdad. Nile River flooding again, destroying everything in Moscow.
Endless wonder at slow waters, quiet in
Chengde
frozen beauty,
Mountain Resort.
and bamboo shimmering with frost.
Very serene in this background of military invasion that's going on. Now remember, that gives me 5% culture for every trade route I have with other civilizations. It's essentially in my interest now to get these done. And I haven't really done much with it. So I'm going to get a few merchants purchased everywhere. Anything that gives me production, I am going to place down. Because I'm going to keep building more of these wonders, please. Ooh. They're great spots for other things, but I'd rather have the wonders, thank you. Surplus influence. I should, of course, boost my war support. So the idea is that you can have war support, which actually gives you combat strength and makes the other civilization also unhappy. So it's a good way of spending your influence, given there's nothing for me to spend it on. You could be great in dogfighting. I need to have one of those. Actually take their capital next turn. And I will. In terms of victory, economic well on its way, military well on its way, science, we need to get these projects done, and culture is complete. Make sure we get merchants going with everybody. I think that's culture is done, except for the repeatable ones. Diplomacy, the extra social policy, we wanted that. Expansionist, food next time. And science, I think we've got everything except the repeatable one. So. Because I'm going to start these projects now, extra 30% production towards them is actually quite powerful. Oh, Wasad, repair everything, please. Well, repair. Is that Amina gearing up for a war here? Where's my navy? I actually did decide to park it. So, in fact, I'm going to put you in range. Wow, that's a ton of resources. Thank you very much. Right, cotton. I need another factory for cotton. Right, so the Great Banker is something that you basically need to be able to complete the economic victory, and I tend to find it's quite helpful. You basically need to activate it in each of the capitals of your opposition, which I will do so. But I'm going to hang on to the last one just until we need them. Now, with the extra visibility, you can see this is quite helpful because I can actually start to take out anything that is in range of my aircraft carrier and make sure that it is very well defended. Machiavellian has joined fascism. That would give me 3 points if I conquer his towns compared to Napoleon. So the question is, do I want to wrap this up and go west? Or do I want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 easy towns, 6, 7? I can take Napoleon out. Stone Town hasn't really been doing a good job. I don't understand why. Braid might be able to take this town out. You guys are really not doing very well. Why are you not attacking? And I think Lahaina seems like the next and most appropriate target for this command. I need to have some gold to actually be able to use them, so I'm gonna save it for next turn. Right, what can I do here? Can I speed this up at all? Let's get a dive bomber next turn, and that's the aircraft carrier basically ready. And I'm gonna just wait for you to get tempted to attack me, Amina. You haven't disappointed for 2 ages, so it's only a question of time, really. Machiavelli. Excellent.
Feet. What do I need them for if I have
The
wings to
Palacio de Bella Arte. It's a very pretty looking wonder with all of these colours on its domes. Machiavelli. And I've got an air commander here. I mean, couldn't ask for better. Oh, a new one spawned. Actually, let's activate the banker before I forget. Requires 61 influence, of course. I used all my influence and now I have to wait. Let's get some defensive dive bombers, please. Again, the towns are doing nothing in terms of taking these kind of free, unguarded towns from Napoleon. So it's really been very disappointing, if I'm honest. And this aircraft carrier should be now full, ready to hit Machiavelli. Sadly, he's gone for an extraction already, so I'm just going to go and grab it from this natural. Ooh, sneaky Napoleon's one. I think that's all the artifacts. Really, only... No, there's nothing left. I mean, I'll head towards green. And my temptation is to peace out with Napoleon and go after Machiavelli. That's the thing that makes the most amount of sense to me right now. But I've got enough military units heading that way. Purchasing one to be able to capture things makes sense as well. tank, for example. There's nothing left for me to bomb. Tempting to capture with my aircraft carrier. Just have a look. How are we doing in terms of the military victory? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 more conquests and I'm done. First activation. I think if I conquer Napoleon's capital here, that's the military victory done. He interrupted the builder of the Statue of Liberty. How very rude.
Give me your tide,
there you are.
your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Now, in true Statue of Liberty fashion, this will spawn a whole bunch of migrants. It will allow me to basically totally fill up my land around Moscow. Mina. And Machiavelli. That was a lot of science you've just stolen. Alright, so we've not done too badly, military-wise. I am going to keep my aircraft carrier home in range of Napoleon, in case we end up wanting to take some of these out. I can't take it. Napoleon's going to have a friend.
The tower can live on itself.
Eiffel Tower.
One can dream there, eat there, observe there, understand there. One can feel oneself cut off from the world, and yet the owner of a world.
Another beautiful building. More fireworks and celebration. This time, at least, well, I was going to say no plumes of smoke, but I think that would be lying. Future tech. If I'm not careful, I'm going to get to 100% with no points on the science. So I've really got to speed this up. Right, let's get some of these projects done. You can wait until Napoleon declares war again. On to the next capital. 2 promotions in 1 turn. It just shows you how overpowered air combat is in this game. Mina has joined democracy. The way you've been playing, Amina, that is irony. Right, modern age at 75%. I absolutely need to rush these projects now, or I'm just out of time. So breaking the sound barrier is practically the only thing that's left here. And launching the satellite. I'll get the satellite on the way. I'll purchase the cannery. In fact, I'm going to even remove these 2. I'm just going to purchase them. Break the sound barrier. He's giving me his city of wonder. Paris is nearly mine though. So I'm, based on my settlement limit of 29 out of 31, I can take Paris and Athena. So I am going to reject it and propose it next turn. So that's first milestone done. 2 more to go. I can build the Manhattan project here, which I am tempted to do. And let's get going with the Manhattan project. Do for peace. And that's 31 towers. Now, given I've got 1200 happiness coming in, I can actually go over this. It's just -5 settlement in all of my settlements, up to a maximum of 35. So it will get expensive the more that I go overboard. But just letting you know that it is an option if I really want to pursue it. Need the gold, need the influence. More natural disasters. Yeah, repair it please. Tons to repair here. Satellite, carry on, please. More disasters. Yellow River flooding.
Now I am
And
become
Manhattan
death,
Project.
the destroyer of worlds.
I mean, look at this. So what can I do in Hamadan that's useful? And on the off chance somebody wants to attack, that's a good base to have some planes. Napoleon joined democracy. The Irish.
Just as the rain breaks through an ill-thatched house,
The Doi
so passion
Sutap.
penetrates an undeveloped mind.
Only reason I kind of prioritizing this is to make sure that I get some influence so I can turn it positive. But it doesn't matter, I don't have to complete an economic victory here. I can of course complete Operation Ivy and get a military victory. To be fair, it was very militaristic towards the end. Look at all this. Beautiful. That's Future Civic done. I don't have any alliance, and there's no way I'm going to turn anybody happy. Maybe Turkomesh. If I can afford to spend anything. Not that I can. But my influence is going at a staggering 2 per turn. What a growth. Actually, I can get more in here. That's 2 more I can build. That's 1. That's 2. That gives me production, so sure, I'll prioritize that. You can basically go to sleep. You're going to have a long time before I can actually use you. So, 2 turns to satellite. Break the sound barrier. 2 turns as well. I may as well get started, in fact, on Operation Ivy, given it 6 turns. And with this gold, once again, just keep boosting Athenai. Actually, although I'm nearly done, actually. And let's get a few merchants in. Oh, one thing I could have done, and I still can, I think, is change a lot of my growing towns into, I don't know why it only took me so long to occur to me, hub towns, which gives me 26 influence. Highly connected towns, that's 24. I totally forgot about this mechanic, not gonna lie. Another hub town. Right, I've boosted my influence by 118 per turn. I'm gonna be fine. I find the ones in the water, the fishing towns, makes a lot of sense. Maybe this one as a hub town is better. Right, let's get a few more merchants, please. Purchase a few more merchants. I shouldn't have put you to sleep, wherever you are. I need to wake you up so you can actually do something useful. I think, yeah, you're here. Next turn, I've definitely got the influence, not the gold right now. I can try and start working on a friend. Research collaboration. That's science, 100%. Culture, 100%. Military, 100%. Economic, 100%. And I'm at 94% for the modern age, so I have to be extremely careful now not to complete the age before I'm ready. Sure, why not add a few nuclear weapons? Not that I'm going to get a chance to use them. Activate you. Try. Improve my relationship. I need more influence. Actually, I have to be careful to make sure that I load up enough. So, 4 turns, is that? Operation Ivy? Yeah. So as long as I don't complete the age within 4 turns, I should be fine. But I'm going to make sure that the banker is ready just in case. 95%. Wow. Now I need to take it to Napoleon's capital, and next turn, if I activate you, that's game over. Actually, can I connect you to first? Buying merchants then, actually. No, I'll keep buying merchants. I just need to make sure that I have enough gold for next turn, just in case. I improve my relationship, cultural exchange. Right, if I hit this button, that's game over, so I'm gonna hang on to him. See if I can make an ally. Before the game is over. I've got 31 settlements, that's an extra 31 influence. So sure, I'll take that first. Merchants everywhere again.
Not through speeches will the great questions of the day be
Gate.
decided, but by iron and blood.
There's only one wonder left. I don't know if I'm going to be able to complete it in turn. 3 turns, I might be able to. Certainly going to give it a go. Got at most 4 turns with the way this is going. Science, that's just... Improve trade relationships. Keep going with merchants deliberately. Try and complete that last wonder. Then I'm going to let Operation Ivy complete, or the banker for that matter. Actually, these two completing in 2 turns sets the clock, frankly. Athena is 3 turns away. There's nothing I can do to speed this up, unfortunately. Try and make an ally. Improve trade relations one more time. Try and trade by next turn. Right, that's 100%. So the age is ending next turn no matter what I do. And I actually should have let Operation Ivy complete. So I'm going to have to use the banker to actually make sure I have a victory screen. Can I build... rather connect here actually. We've got this to activate, so we will. But in the meantime... Oh! Ally? Allow me to enter war with somebody? Sure. I don't know who I just accept and joined a war with, but somebody. Who are you at war with? Machiavelli. I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, score in a few more points before we end this turn, and then we're done. I'm sure I had another aircraft carrier in the vicinity, but I don't think I do. I think that's everything that I can do this turn, isn't it? Tray screen. The World Bank. Ironic that it was an Operation Ivy, given how militaristic it was towards the end. But that's the World Bank complete. Established in 1884, very well known historical fact. Hope you guys enjoyed this series, and the modern age has come to an end. And that you found it interesting. Let me know if this video format has worked a bit better than the previous 2, but whether I'm going to be continuing these or not. Bye for now.
New tapestry comes a voice of order.